My name is Alyssa, and this is how I make a passive income at 17 years old.
As you can see, the house is in pretty good condition. We're just going to have to paint, replace some flooring, and clean up all this mess. One of the major expenses is we're going to have to get a whole new air unit because it does not work at all currently. We're going to keep the floors in this bedroom, but again, paint and do some of the basic cosmetic changes. This bathroom needs new floor, and under that piece of wood, the floor has to be completely replaced because there's a hole. Here we need things like blinds and not much to do, just painting, and of course we have to replumb the entire house and replace the front door there. All new flooring in these bedrooms and the hallway here. We're going to try to work with the doors. And that room back there did not have a window, so we need to buy a new window for that. This bathroom, it's not terrible, but again, a little bit of changes. And of course we get to the demo, ripping out all of these old floors. Here's our special guest Josie, who came to supervise. Right before we laid the floor, we had to get a nice deep clean, just so there's no dirt or anything under the new floor. And some nice changes like new blinds and stuff. Some of them were a little long, so we had to trim things like the handle and the actual blind itself, which is actually not as much of a job as you would think it is. Right in front of the front door and in several other places, the whole floor had to be replaced. So that was one of the major things we had to do here. And the air unit they had here rotted the floor there, so we had to replace that as well. And then this is the new window. We were able to get the exact one we needed, which was great. And the floor under that, since that was also rotted. And here we actually had no idea what was going on under the floor, but we expected it to be rotting. And it was, so we had to fix that. And by the back door, that also rotted there as well. And by the dryer vent, so we had to fix all of those issues before we were able to lay new floor. And our guest Josie again. Here's my favorite part, laying the brand new laminate flooring. The hardest part about this is just trying to get the first row to line up. But once you get that, you use your remaining piece to start your new row just so you don't waste anything. And it gives you a nice stagger, because you don't want everything to be the exact same pattern, because it looks pretty bad when it's really noticeable. And you'll just need a tapping block and a hammer to be able to click those pieces in together. This is laminate flooring, by the way. And just a reminder, this flooring does need padding underneath it. Once you get to the end piece, there's usually not enough room to put your hammer and tapping block in there, so we just use a little pull bar and a hammer, and this gives it a nice refresh. It really shows a big change after the floor's in. The cabinets were covered in stains, so we had to sand that off before we went ahead and painted it, and we actually just decided to use spray paint, and it turned out pretty good. This living room and kitchen took forever to lay the floor in just because of how long it is, but it ended up looking really good. I'm loving the flooring color. And we're in progress of getting the cabinets painted, so we had to tape off a lot of stuff, but it's also looking pretty good. In the master bathroom, we had to completely replumb everything to the shower because it had a bunch of leaks. We just decided to use PEX grade A, and then we were able to keep the fixtures and just put a new shower head in. And the day finally came when we got the air in. It looks great, completely new unit. Not cheap, but it was necessary. And this is just spray painting the cabinets. Some of you guys might not like this, but it really did turn out great. We did have to go 2 coats on the back of this peninsula here, just because of how big it was, and some of it showed through again, so we just had to fix that. And we were able to save some money here and use the old fixtures like the hinges and the handles, and they actually turned out looking really good. We had to take out the dishwasher and microwave, neither of them worked. We're going to put a hood where the microwave is and an open shelf where the dishwasher was, just because it's a quick fix and I'm sure it'll turn out looking great. And it did. And we had to completely replace the entire framing of the door as well, just because it was so rotted on the outside. So that was quite a job. It took a lot of time to set that in. Also, some of the trim was not there in some rooms, and some of it was just not good. So we did stain and cut some boards to make it pretty close to the same color and size. In a few of the rooms we did go ahead and caulk the ceiling just to cover some gaps. One of the hinges from before we took them all out was stuck, so we did have to drill that out. It was a mess, but it ended up working good in the end. And we had to get new laundry room piping and new washer box. And here is using an expansion gun for that PEX grade A, and we're just putting some fittings in it so we can give it a nice turn to go into the box. We did have to fix a little bit with the plug-in behind the stove. At this point, I was very happy with how the kitchen was turning out. It looked great. Here I'm putting on some stick-on transition strips. They are amazing. You just have to make sure to clean the area really good. But other than that, they stick great as long as you use a heat gun and you have a clean area. And they looked great too, and it matched the flooring really well. And of course we had to make some last minute finishes on the walls because there was a few holes that we missed. We put in a motion sensored light by the door. And because the flooring in the bedroom was so high, we decided to just lay over the old flooring with this marble look vinyl, and it turned out really beautifully. This is just laid pretty much the exact same way as laminate flooring was, so it didn't take too long at all. finishing touches on the floor. We had to add new trim in the bathroom. And because there was no cabinet doors, we had to make some for that back bathroom. We were also able to buy some exact match hinges, which was great, as well as some pretty close to the same handles, just to match the kitchen and everything. They turned out looking pretty good, we just have to stain them to match. After about 5 samples, we finally found one that matched pretty good. And it matches pretty well. We had to add a few little fixtures like toilet paper holders, and of course cover up the plumbing in the laundry room. And we went ahead and mopped the floors before move-in day. And after about a month or two's worth of hard work, I think it turned out pretty well. This is a rental property, so tenants will be moving in soon, so we had to finish up real quick, and it looks great. This has 2 bedrooms back here, and the little bathroom here with a shower. Also has a pretty nice sized living room, dining, and kitchen area. I really think the kitchen is my favorite part. I love how it turned out. We made a little panel here by the air for easy access. We had to replace the floor in some areas in the laundry room and matched it pretty well. Then here's our utility water heater room and also storage area. The really nice sized master bedroom with a nice sized walk-in closet and a really big master bathroom. And I love the size of this walk-in closet, it's really nice. And finally, the big master bathroom with the huge tub, new cabinet doors, new toilet, all new everything. It's really nice. Thanks for watching.